She paid off $15,000 in a pandemic. Kudos to her, especially like after losing your job. Hello guys, my name is Ajay. Welcome to Figure It Out with Ajay, a place where you empower to figure out your money, your career, your personal growth, and live life on your own terms. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm gonna do a reactionary video on millennial money. I love these videos and a lot of people have reacted to them. A lot of like big YouTubers that you know, like Stephen Graham, Patricia Bright. I like watching people talk about money and how they spend it. So the one that I'm gonna react to, it just came out April 8th, so it's been like a day old and it already have like over 100,000 views. So I am gonna react to it. I have not watched it yet, so you guys gonna see my reactions and like how she's like able to live on $75,000 in New York City. So let's get into the video.
Once you have a child, your life is turned upside down, especially when it's unexpected to be a single mom. And part of my journey in my career and in learning about finances is to be able to show my daughter that she can do anything and to show her that she has control over her finances and over her destiny.
Okay, so one thing I'm noticing, she has a daughter, so we'll see. That's awesome, and we'll see how she stretches her money to, we'll see how she stretches her money to fend for herself and for her daughter. Oh, okay. Okay, she's 29 years old, so like, yeah, so okay, awesome.
My name is Emma Sadler. I'm 29 years old. I make about $75,000 a year, and I live in New York City. I work as a UX designer at a medical startup, and I also work part-time as a shipping coordinator with an ice cream shop here in New York City. Both jobs that I work off.
Okay, so one thing that I noticed, she said she works as a UX designer. I know UX designers that make double that she makes, and it's New York City. So I don't know why. I feel like she's being paid lower. She said it's a hospital, so that may be one reason why she is getting paid $75,000. Okay, so
Remote.
okay. So, okay, actually, so it's not even $75,000; it's $60,000 as a full-time U.S. designer. So I feel like that's pretty low, especially for New York City. Like I said, I personally know people that make twice that, so that is quite low. But okay, we'll see. Okay.
In my UX designer position, I am right now on a probationary period, and so shortly I'll be able to renegotiate my salary. UX designers, typically in New York City, start at around $80,000 a year, and you can work up to six figures.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, so she's doing a probationary, 3-month probationary period that whereby she's, they're seeing whether she's able to like keep up with the job and be competent. Okay, so that makes sense now, and it makes sense that she said she can be negotiate and then be earning 6 figures. So okay, awesome. Woo! That's good. That is good. Okay.
I live in a brownstone on the Upper West Side, and I actually live in my childhood home. So I live with my daughter, who's 9 years old, and I also live with my mother, who is 72 years old. So 3 generations living under one roof. It is a 1-bedroom, so it is a little tight, especially with all of us home, but it's actually been really great during this time period. This is a picture of me from the orphanage in Russia, and I am 6 months old. I'm adopted from Moscow, Russia, and I was adopted at the age of 1. And I've lived on the Upper West Side ever since in this apartment. My dad was a graphic designer and a artist, and my mother was a paralegal secretary at a law firm. So being adopted all of my life, it was never a shock. My parents were taught by the agency to always tell me that I was adopted ever since I was little. I just remember around the age of 7 asking a few more questions and wanting more details about my adoption. So my second year at FIT, my dad ended up passing away very suddenly. Here's a picture of my father and I, and this picture is one of my favorites because he's comforting me because I ran into a pipe in the sandbox as a little girl. My dad was a stay-at-home dad with me, so with his passing, I kind of lost the spark for graphic design. And so I ended up pivoting and moving into pastry school. And I was thankful enough that my mom actually paid the huge portion of that school, and I was left with only $3,000 in my name.
First of all, that is awesome. It's awesome that her mom was able to chip in and pay for her tuition and she didn't go into debt, which is awesome. Kudos to mom for doing that. Yeah, really.
I pay $400 a month to live in the apartment. The total rent is actually $1,400.
Okay. She said $400. Oh my God, $400 in New York City. She hit the jackpot. And she said the total amount for the rent is $1,400. But it makes sense. That's a childhood home, and she's living with her parents. So kudos to her. That's awesome. Okay.
And that is due to the fact that we are rent stabilized, and that this apartment has been in my family since the mid-70s. And so we are getting an unheard of deal now for this apartment. So I'm really grateful that we are able to stay in this neighborhood. I decided.
Okay. It says here Emma spends $670 a month on food. Oh my God. Okay. Woo, that is a lot of money. But at the same time, it's New York City. So New York City is quite expensive. It can be quite expensive. So I think for New York City, like, that is a good amount, you know. But yeah, okay.
On also the bill of food for everybody in the household. So I don't just pay for my daughter and I also pay food for my mom.
Okay, that's fair. That's okay. That makes sense. So she is taking care of the food bill for the whole household, which is awesome because one, she's paying only $400 for rent. So okay, she's chipping in and paying for like her mom as well as her daughter. So okay, cool. That makes sense.
So about a year ago, I ended up getting into minimalism. I realized that I wanted to choose where my money went. So instead of my just throwing money around to buy something I think looks really nice, I'm instead making...
Okay, so let's look at this budget for a minute. So one thing, before I even speak on the budget, she's talking about like being interested in minimalism, which I think is awesome. I also practice some form of minimalism. You know, it's not easy, but I like that. So looking at her budget, so she's spending about $673 on food, and so she has debt. Well, I don't know where the debt is coming from. She may talk about that in the video later, because she said when she graduated she was left with $3,000 in her name. So does that mean that she had $3,000 in debt? We don't know. So she's doing a debt repayment. Okay, $538. Okay, that's good. We'll have to see how much debt she has though, but that is a significant chunk of money to be putting up to debt, which is good, which is amazing. Okay, so her savings and investments are $425. Rent and utilities $400. Okay, discretionary, so that's miscellaneous stuff, that's $110, and that fluctuates. Transportation is $60, which is I think that is normal for New York City, because mostly people just use the train to go to places that they want. Subscription, okay, that's not bad. She does Disney Plus, Hulu, Spotify. Okay, awesome. Dental claim $48. So this is the monthly average calculated from annual cost. Okay, awesome. And then phone $35. That's not bad at all. And her total typical budget is $2,349. That's awesome. Okay.
Conscious decisions when I use my money. One of our favorite recipes that we always bake from are spice muffins. And so they're from this very old cookbook. In the cookbook itself, there is actually our bookmark is a picture of myself. I was around 7 years old in this picture, baking with my mom. So pre-pandemic, my career trajectory was to become a general manager and continue to move up the managerial ladder, maybe even into operations in the food industry. And right as the pandemic hit, everything kind of turned upside down in New York City. And my position was one of the first ones to get cut. It was really tough because I did sit my daughter down to let her know that I was no longer going into work. I also wanted to be very transparent with her when money was very tight. So shortly after I lost my job.
So I like the fact that, you know, she's not afraid to talk to her daughter about money. I think it's very important to talk to your kids about money. It helps them get more comfortable with money and talking about money. So it's good. I feel like that, you know, it's good that she's able to talk to her daughter about that and be transparent.
It was very clear that the industry I currently worked in at the time, which was the food industry, was getting extremely disrupted. I decided that I needed to look into other opportunities. So the UX Bootcamp cost $12,000. It was a big self-investment. The great thing is that they have a 2-year repayment plan with no interest. So in 2022, in August, I should be completely done with the $12,000.
Okay. Ooh, okay, excuse me. That's really good. One, I like the fact that she pivoted real quickly when she lost her job. Incredible, incredible. And also, she technically went into debt. But one thing though, the debt was a repayment plan. It had a repayment plan and there was no interest in it. So, okay, so now I see where the $528 of debt is coming from. Okay, okay. Well, you know, I wouldn't go into debt to, like, you know, go do a boot camp, but whatever floats your boat, she did a good investment, and she did it, and she now has a job. So it is what it is. Okay. Yeah.
A big reason that I pivoted my career was at being a manager in the food industry. You are working around 10 hours a day, on your feet all day. Being a single mom, I wouldn't see much of my daughter. I would leave before she had to go to school. Now I have more flexibility to be home. I have flexibility with my daughter than I ever did before. As a single mom in New York City, it can be very, very difficult. The great thing about living in New York City, though, is that there are a lot of free things that you can do with your kids, including going to the park. I am also blessed with the fact that I don't have to pay such a hefty rent. I think if I also had to pay the rents in New York City, being a single mom, it would be paycheck to paycheck.
I absolutely agree. Like, I also agree with her that if she didn't have the rent that you know she's paying it, she would be living paycheck to paycheck, because New York City is expensive. I've lived in New York City for like maybe 3 months. I used to go there during the summer. It's quite expensive, and rent is expensive, food is expensive, everything is expensive. She is doing a fabulous job, you know, pivoting to a new career, getting her money up, living with her parents to cut down rent into like literally more than half. So that's kudos to her. And also she gives her daughter allowance of $20 a month, which is good. I think that teaches kids about money, so that's a good thing.
It isn't part of her doing good in school, though. She doesn't just get the money. She does have to work for it.
Okay.
With that, right now, I gave her the option of either having physical money or having it to go towards in-app purchases for the game Roblox that she likes to play. And so currently she's decided to go with the in-app purchases, but I'm thinking about changing that model structure soon. Being a mom during the pandemic, especially a single mom, there have been a lot of ups in terms of having more time with my daughter, but there's also a lot of struggles from the fact that we live in a one-bedroom space and my daughter has to do school online and I have to work online. And so trying to balance those boundaries of work and home life can become blurred. So when the pandemic hit and I lost an income, it really made me realize how much I didn't know about money and budgeting and finances in general. So being home and being someone who just loves to learn and is constantly curious, I decided to start looking into financial literacy. I do know a chunk of it was because I was trying to keep up with the Joneses in a way of trying to also provide for my daughter all of the experiences, and paying for a child to go and do classes and things can add up really, really quickly, and I wasn't keeping an eye on it. I actually did have around $6,000 in my savings at the time, and realizing that I was going to be so unsure of what was going to be happening, I decided that once my unemployment started to kick in, I was going to take all of that savings to throw down onto my debt.
Oh my god, that's awesome. So she paid off her debt like in January 2021. So that is awesome. But my question is though, does that also include the boot camp? So because she said she has $15,000 in credit card debt, but also there's another $12,000 that she needs to pay back for the boot camp that she did. But I'm glad that she paid off $15,000 in a pandemic. Kudos to her, especially like after losing your job. That is wonderful. That's awesome. Kudos, man. That's awesome. I'm so happy for her. That's beautiful, and it's funny because I like we almost paid off, like we paid off the same amount, because I paid $15,000 as well in credit card debt within a year. So very relatable. I'm so glad that I chose this clip.
After I eliminated my credit card debt, I have been able to build back up my savings, and I currently have $2,600.
I think $425 a month, that is a good amount of money to save. She's doing well. That's awesome, because especially in America, not a lot of people can come up with a $400 emergency. So she's doing a good job, with what she has to pay and to save $425. So I'm really glad she's doing that. Okay.
So for my daughter, I've decided to max out my Roth IRA. In the near future, I can pull out for certain academic reasons. Since I don't know what she wants to do with her future, it's a better place to put my money. I think it's so much more rare these days to have.
Okay. So one thing she mentioned is she maxed out her Roth IRA. That is a good thing that she's doing, because with Roth IRAs, it's post-tax, so they deduct the amount and they take out the tax, and anything that is put into the stock market is no longer taxed, because the tax has already been taken out, so it goes tax-free, which is awesome. So kudos to her for doing that.
Family living with family, the United States is.
So another thing that she also mentioned, that she may use that amount, may pull out some money to like pay for her kids tuition in the future. I don't think that's a good idea, because one, you never pull out from your retirement account unless it's a dire situation whereby it's bankruptcy, because there are huge penalties with that. You can, the penalties can go to up to 30%. She can also open a college fund for her kid, open up a college fund, and she can use it for tuition, or if she doesn't decide to go to college, she can do it for something else, open a business or things like that. So that's what I would do if I was in her situation. But to each their own. It is what it is.
Dependence, and so a lot of people almost feel ashamed to be living at home or living with their family because it makes it seem like you haven't made it. And I definitely felt that pressure for a long time, feeling like I had to get out. You know, I'm a single mom. I need to show that I can take care of myself. But at the same time, I've been able to have so many more opportunities because I decided to stay home and live with my mom and, you know, help her out while she also gets to help me out with my daughter.
That is so true. Like, I like the fact that she stuck to her gun and stuck to what works for her and not keep up with the Joneses or not care about what other people think. Like, their situation works for them. You know, it is what it is. And New York City is an expensive city to live, and you know, she's getting help from her mom and she's helping her mom as well. So it's a win-win situation for all parties involved. I'm glad that once she got out of credit card debt and she's building up her savings, so, and also she is contributing to a Roth IRA as well. So that is awesome. Let me know, guys, down in the comments whether you guys enjoy these videos, so that if you enjoy it, I'll make another one. Do like, comment, subscribe, share this video, give it a big thumbs up. It helps the algorithm, it helps me as well. Let me know what kind of content that you guys like. Until then, I will see you when I see you. Bye.